Hello YouTube land. My name's Tony and I want to introduce you to my new studio. Yay! This is our new channel for the studio, and we're going to do a studio count. How many times can I say studio? Kind of reminds me of People Just Do Nothing. I don't know if you remember that comedy. Anyway, this is Naught to 70 studio. Take a quick look. I just want to do a quick down and dirty YouTube video. I want to start getting some content out, and the thing is, have to get used to talking to camera. I hate myself and hate the way I look and hate everything about it, but I want to sort of start getting things going, and I want to build a community of people that can sort of, I don't know, join in the journey with me. I want to build a community of people that are into songwriting, recording, equipment, you know, gear obviously. We all love gear. Gear! And also people like me that are sort of, you know, not high-end studios, maybe a project studio at home. I would describe this as a home studio in a studio complex, you know, away from home. It's a fairly large room. It's not massive, but you know, I can fit a drum kit in, and I've got about, let's have a look, let me flip this around. If you check my feet, hold up. Oh, I think I just took a photo. Awesome. What the hell am I doing? Oh, it's locked into my oh, okay, let's try that again. How the hell is that happening? Let's try that. Here we go. Tilt down. Okay, so there's my feet. I reckon it's 1, that's a big step. 2, that's almost a metre. 3, and then I'm almost at the kick drum. If I go back the other way, you get an idea. If I stand back, see how much of it I can show you. I'm filming this on a DJI Pocket 3 4K. It's not the widest of cameras, hence why the studio is not looking as maybe big as it could. You know, need to fluff it up a bit. Anyways, I'm going to quickly talk you through the studio, and then maybe over time we can get into more details. Right now I'm going to give you an overview. I took on this place a few months ago, underestimated how long it was going to take for me to, let me just flip that around. Underestimated how long it was going to take for me to set this place up, and you know, I literally had no idea it was going to be so involved, especially wiring the thing up. You know, it took me ages. I think start to finish it's probably a couple of months to get it going, and then trying to find my feet with it. I got a little DJI. I keep saying DJI, and I've got a light here. Looks blue. But there you go. That's just giving me a little bit of light in the room. Right, let me quickly show you around. So there's a vocal booth here, but I'm using it for storage. What I normally do is use this microphone or another microphone. I prefer recording the mic in the room, you know. So let me start with the drums. So my friend Pete, he's a chap, young gentleman from a band called FM, and they're an 80s rock band that are still going today. Check them out, they're brilliant. And he had this in his garage, in his lockup. It was a little bit damp and dank, and I had to kind of throw away the cases, but I've promised to replace them if he ever gets the kit back. You hear that, Pete? You might not be getting this back. It's on indefinite loan, and in the event that I get rid of the studio, then I'm going to hand it back to him. What he did is he gave me the tom, very kind, the kick drum. This is a Naughties, I think around 2003, 2004. I don't actually know what version of a Premier kit it is. Maybe you guys know. I do know that this is not a wrap, it's painted. I think it was like a mid to sort of slightly better tier, but not in a high. I don't think it's a master series. So he gave me the kick, the rack, and just here the floor tom. That floor tom was actually a 14-inch tom, and I converted it from the guys with the guys at Rubik's Drums. They really helped me out, and what they did was they skinned the drum for me. They repaired the snare, because he gave me a Premier snare with it, and they put the lugs on and sort of fixed up various bits, and it's looking really nice. Let me just stand back. I'm really happy with it. It sounds great. It's got a sort of dry sound. Then I picked up a Recording Custom. I don't know if you know, for drummers out there. I'm not a drummer, by the way. That's an 8-inch deep snare. It's a great sounding thing, very thuddy. He also gave me this K ride. This is a 22-inch ride. And then I picked up the hi-hats, the cymbals, various bits, you know. And then what else did I need? I needed a drum stool. There's a little drum stool there. And I picked up the spare snare. Then I kitted it out with, let's have a look at the mics. So the overheads are the Naught Audios. I think they're called the LA120s. And can I just say that these are great microphones. I'd like to do a review of these one day. They've got various functions, you know, low pass, etc. And you can really get a nice tone. What I notice about them is they're not harsh. They're nice and smooth sounding with cymbals. They never sound brittle and harsh. They always sound nice. Standard 57 on the hi-hat, although I'm looking for ideas for alternatives for smoother sounding drums. I've got the Naught Audio tom mics on the toms, as you can see, 1 and 2, and the Naught Audio snare drum mic just there, another great mic, really good rejection. I'm using the Warm Audio FET 47, great mic, really good value. I've got that as my kick out, and in the kick drum there, I don't know if you can see it, I've got a D112. I'm not so sure about the D112. It's not terrible, but I'm thinking about trying the Audix and seeing what that comes out like, you know. And then various bits of hardware. That's the kit. I got my rugs from IKEA. There you go. Probably need a Hoover. In the corner there, I've got a little coffee machine and little drawers for my various bits. Through this kind of velvet thing, that's actually a window into another studio. This was originally 3 studios in one, and it got broken up into 3 individual ones. So there's the drum kit, Premier kit. If you know what it is, let me know in the comments below. I've only got about 80 followers at the moment, so I doubt there's even any drummers out there at the minute. But you never know, I live and dream. And then I've got some percussion, various bits. Pete actually gave me a gig bag. I've got various kick drum felts and stuff like that. Drum headphones, I love these things. These are the Direct Sound Extreme Isolation EX29 Pluses. Really good value headphones, and they actually really work well at isolating, and they'll save your ears as well. I've got a cheeky little DJI Action 5 on the drum kit, so I can film in any direction I want, you know, into the room or not. I should really switch those on, shouldn't I? Hold up. Maybe I can film various angles and then drop it in on the video later. Let's get that going. There's another little DJI there. Excuse the LED lights flashing there. I'm afraid this is part and parcel of the thing. Then I've got keyboards wise, I've got a Roland Juno X, great value keyboard, does the Juno thing really well, obviously. Sorry, I don't know how to get rid of the pulsing on this little DJI. Then I'm using a Naught Electro 6 HP, really nice. I've got a little Korg, there's a little micro there, and then a couple of these little Roland drum machines. I've got a Mini Freak, which is a great keyboard. There you go. There you go. You can have copyright on that. And then equipment wise, where do I go next? Where do I go next? So I've used LED lights from IKEA to light the room up. For some reason these ones don't pulse, but over here they seem to be. I'm not quite sure why that is, if I'm being honest. I'm getting that pulsing there. Anyway, you're going to have to ignore that. If I do that, like, there you go, bosh. Oh no, it's doing it still. Here you go, gone. Not quite sure why that's doing that, I can't tell you. There's a setting in the camera that might be able to get rid of it, but I just want to carry on with the video for now. The vocal booth, I'm embarrassed to show you, but basically it's a store cupboard. Needs a real tidy up at the moment. Loads of crap in there, but hiding down here, I've got a Marshall 1x12, but I took out the green back when it actually blew, and I replaced it with a Celestion Creamback 65 watt. And hiding in there, I've got a 57 and a Royer ribbon mic, typical Nashville style. Here's the old SE Electronics vocal isolating thing. I just leave it in there for now. I've got loads of junk, but this room needs a real clear out and a tidy out. I got the studio going. There's my snare that Pete gave me very kindly, a Premier Custom, I think it's called. And yeah, there you go, that's the little cupboard there. Could always be used as a vocal mic. I've got a couple of cameras inside here. I've got lenses for filming. I do have better cameras, but I just want to get these videos out for now. There's a Sony FX3 that I'm going to be using, and a Nikon Z9, both amazing cameras for filming. Here's my little guitar station, should we call it that? Originally I had the Marshall Studio, I think it was the SV20, but I'm going to say, if you've got a recording studio, the SV20 is great sounding, but if you want to do anything quiet, it's just too noisy. You can't get it past 1 on the bright channel, and most people are going to bridge that amp anyway, so what you'll find is it will just hiss like buggery. And if you want to do anything mellow, I ended up getting rid of mine. Oh, belly's rumbling. I got rid of mine. It was just too noisy. I couldn't handle it. When I went to replace it, I was looking for another Marshall. I was possibly going to get a Jubilee. Because of the space I've got, I didn't really have the luxury of having loads of amp heads, you know. So instead I opted for a one and done for now, and I use pedals at the front end to try and shape the sound. I went for the Friedman Dirty Shirley. I don't know if you can see it there. Let's give you a little overview. It's a fantastic amp. It's a 45 watt JTM 45 style amp. It's absolutely brilliant. And then I've got a selection of pedals, but I'm not going to show you them all for now. There's a few there, get a look. And some under there, various ones. You can see I've got the Lex in there by Strymon, Echo Plexes. There's a big muff, Maxons, Brown amplification. I've got more pedals, but that's roughly what I've got floating around. I use the Aux Stomp sometimes in conjunction with the 2 Notes Torpedo. You can just see it hiding there. And then I've got a Flint in the effects loop of the amp if I want reverb and tremolo. What I love about this amp is you can get nice Fender punchy clean tones out of it, and then you can drive it. It will do pretty much everything, you know. Oh, that's the old GoPro going off. The Aux Stomp and the 2 Notes works really well if I don't want to use an amp, but generally speaking, I just leave the amp on. For DI'd bass, I've got a couple of things. I've got the Sands amp. Let's have a look. Excuse me. So I've got the Sands amp VT Bass DI by Tech 21. It's a really good pedal actually. And then a friend of mine, Chris Hamby, recommended this thing, and I'm not disappointed. It sounds great. This is the Bass Rig by Origin Effects. It's the Super Vintage, which I guess is the Ampeg style, I think. Yeah, it's really good. I love DIing it, stuff like that. So pedals, we'll go through those at another time. I'll put them all together. When I've tidied the studio, at the moment it's a complete mess because it's work in progress. In other words, I've been working today. I can't really play too much because, let's have a look. Just give you a quick intro. We're doing some funky vibes. What I'm trying to do today is I'm trying to do some pitching for some artists, and I'm writing a kind of funky, cool, vibey, retro, vintagey song. I don't know what to call it. Old school soul, that kind of vibes. And then, right, where was I? Sorry, I'm just switching this thing off. So what else do we have? So, guitar-wise, I've got a jazz bass there. This thing is my... Oh, this is not going to go well because I'm trying to hold the camera and film at the same time. Never a good idea. But if I can do this without wrecking the place. So this is a fantastic guitar. I'll show you this. I love this thing. So this is the Hanson Telecaster. It's the T-style one. I think they're from... Where's Hanson from? Is he Danish or Finnish? I can't remember. And I got this in... Where did I get it from? Anderton's Guitars. Let me show you the back. It's nicely aged. What I love about it is... Check out the... Hello, it's my face. Check out the serial number. I don't know if you can make it out. But it's 555 555. If that's not cool, I don't know what is. It's got a roasted maple neck. It's a fantastic thin line telly. It really is. Absolutely love that guitar. Then I'm using a Stratocaster. Let's have a look. Let me show you this. So this, if I don't fall over and break my neck, this Strat is a Rittenhouse Strat, and I would describe it as a parts caster, very similar to Nash Guitars. I don't know if you're aware of that company. So basically it's using all parts, but it's been built by a Lutherer. He's based in Miami. Not to cast aspersions because I don't know the guy, but I haven't heard very good things about the business. The guitar, however, is amazing. It's got a roasted maple neck. I bought this thing in lockdown. It's a shell pink. It's beautifully aged. He's done a fantastic job of aging it. He's even put a cigarette burn on it just there. It's great. I got this guitar at Steel. There's the back of the neck there. Let me go slow. This guitar was a bargain. I think it was probably, I think I paid around 1,100 quid for it. When I first saw it, I thought it was a Squire, and I really liked it. And the guy said to me it was on sale. Bought it in lockdown. I don't know if you guys went mad in lockdown. I did. I sold guitars that basically I shouldn't have sold. I had a fantastic 1975 Les Paul Deluxe, and I regret getting rid of it. It was a real player's guitar. Fantastic. What else do we have? We have... This was another bargain. So I really was searching for a 335, and I don't know about you, but the cost of guitars these days has gone through the roof, and Gibson themselves and 335s are just absolutely ridiculous. I can't believe how expensive things have become. I bought this in Denmark Street, and I was searching around for one, and I wanted something used, something nicely played in. This is a 2013 Memphis. They say they're customs, but they're not customs. And what I've done is I've replaced my tuners. I did that myself. Look at that. All by my lonesome. Okay, and then I basically, had some lovely age to it, lovely playing. And what I've fitted is some Gibson custom buckers. It's made all the difference. It's really kind of opened the guitar up. Sounds great. You can do some demos at some point. but that was a bargain. Yeah, I got it in a shop that I would never have expected to see. They don't normally sell anything like this in Denmark Street in terms of this particular shop. I think the shop was Rose Morris, and it just happened to be the guy in the shop was selling the guitar. Speaking of bargains in Denmark Street, oh, by the way, quick point of note. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Youngblood, but oh my God, that dude is knocking it out of the park. I cannot tell you what a fan I am of Youngblood. He's the first artist in ages that really, really pricked my ears up and made me feel that there is a chance for rock and roll to come back, and bands, and also for long form. You know, he's not afraid of long form music. His last big hit, was 3 songs in one. It was 9 minutes long, and the video was superb. Youngblood's a really cool dude, and I know a bit about his history. I'm not going to go into any of his personal details because that's not my business. But what I can tell you is when he was working in Denmark Street, he was working in a shop called, it's the old Andy's, it's called Hank's now. And I remember him before lockdown everything went wrong. I think it went right for him. Who knows, that might have been the time he did his albums, And, I remember prior to it going in that shop and remembering just how kind he was and nice and polite. When you walked in, there was an acknowledgement, not slagging off Denmark Street because I love it to bits. I worked there in the mid-90s for about a year, and I got to meet some really cool dudes. I'm still friends with some of the people there now. But there is a little bit of an attitude thing going on in some of the shops historically. I would say that there's some great shops there. A Regent Sounds now has just opened up, and they've managed, well, I say just opened up, I mean they've just opened up the shop. It was under construction for a long time while they were developing a lot of the buildings, and that's looking great. No Tom's is probably my favourite shop. It's got a lot of vintage stuff in there. It's really cool. They're really nice guys. And then you've got One Joe's, and again, they're really nice people, great shops. If you're not from London and you get a chance to go to Denmark Street now, it's really, really coming back. I hope it doesn't get too corporate though. It's starting to feel a bit corporate, but it's still a great street, And then, what else was I going to say? Anyway, Youngblood was in Hank's, which was the old Andy's, and yeah, just a really nice bloke. And then I found out last week or whenever it was that he's opened a shop there. I don't know if it's a shop. It's got, he's selling merchandise. He's selling, actually, I stand corrected. He's selling fashion and jewellery, and he's trying to create a hub for like-minded people to congregate and hang, I'm not quite sure what his incentive was to do it, but I guess it's just to kind of create a little hub for his fans and people that are into that kind of genre, are into the fashion. I think he opened a store with one of his best mates, and she's a fashion designer, and she's helped him, and then a jeweller that he works with. Anyway, he's doing some cool stuff. I'm hoping he'll put loads of vinyl in there as well. I'm pretty sure he may have already started doing that. And what would be great, I'm shouting out to Youngblood, is if in the little section downstairs, a chill out zone, if you could organise some songwriting sessions, Youngblood, I'd love to come down and write a tune with you. In fact, I'm going to challenge you to write a song with me. And anyone else for that matter, I thought that would be a great idea. He's really, really trying to give back, and what I love about it is he's brought it back to Denmark Street, keeping it London, keeping it real, which is great. Anyway, I'm waffling now. This video is probably going to get edited down quite long. I'm trying to see how many minutes I'm on. 24 minutes already. Right, where was I? Okay, we've done drums. There they are. We've done keys. There they are. Let's do interface, okay? Here we go. This is all in real time, by the way. I'm not going to edit this video. Warts and all, it's going on YouTube. I don't care. Right, so we are using the new Apollo Twin. I can't remember what version it is. Really sorry about the lights flashing, but you'll just have to deal with those. I've got the Apollo Twin. What's great about this particular one is you can use Sonar Works and put it in the Twin. I don't need to do that. I'll tell you why in a second, but it's not necessary for me, but if I did need to, that's a really handy feature. The other thing about this thing is that, a bit dusty, sorry, I need I've still got the plastic, there you go, on there. The other thing about this is it's got upgraded headphone outputs and upgraded outputs for the speakers. I'm using the Audient Nero, which isn't the sound card, but that's my speaker selector. Initially I had 3 sets of speakers, but I've narrowed it down to 2 now. Then I'm using the last version of the Apollo. Let's move this light around. I wonder if it's this light here. Could be. Let's move that to one side. There you go. So we've got the Apollo XP. So you've got 8 analog ins, 8 via ADAT. And then I've got the Apollo X8. That's got 4 more plus ADAT. And what I've done is I've cascaded the Focusrite Claret. So this has got all my keyboards and bits and bobs in there. And that's cascaded into the 8P via ADAT. So I've got 16 XLRs in. And then the Twin's got 2. And then I'm using the solid state Logic Pure Drive Octo. And that's going in via ADAT into the Apollo Twin. So there's 8 channels, another 8, another 8, 8 more, who can add up. So that's 32 plus 2, 34 inputs, okay? You'll be surprised how quickly you can get through them as well. It's crazy. The way I've decided to wire the studio up is to have everything plugged in. So all my track counts are here and everything's labelled. And so it always means I'm ready to go. So if you can see there, that Brit strip is here. Talk about that in a second. That's the Heritage Audio Brit strip. And that is permanently in. And if I want to steal the inputs for, say, bass or guitar, I can just do it there, which is really cool. Or I can patch it in via the patch bay. I tend to just go straight in the front because I can never be bothered. My patch bay is hiding under here, and it's a bloody mess. And if I'm being honest with you, I can't even remember the inputs. I've got most of them labelled though, so that's lucky. But I've just plugged them in and left them. Haven't even bothered doing anything with that. But I can steal the inputs if I need to. So just to recap, we've got the Apollo X8, X8P, the Focusrite, the SSL and the Twin. That's all my converters, if you like. And then on this side I've just got a few little choice bits. That's the MPC Live, by the way. I don't know if you can see that. It's a great little bit of gear. Nice and hands-on. The great thing about this thing is in the studio, you know, using plugins is all well and good, but for me, I just want to bash stuff and hit stuff, you know. I've tried to create the studio in such a way that it's kind of quite free flow, and when you want to get stuff going, it's really quick. I don't want to be hanging about. Don't get me wrong, I use plugins, I use software instruments, but just having a keyboard, a synth, a couple of little drum machines, a couple more keyboards, you know, I don't really want to start putting racks of synths in. That's a rabbit warren I don't want to go down just yet. But anyways, love this thing. It's great. It's great for taking around. It's got a speaker on it as well, so you can sort of create beats on the go. And what I tend to do with this is either create beats, play them in live, or loop them up. I don't even have it midied up yet because I haven't worked out how to do it. So any tips for me, feel free. Then in terms of equipment, in terms of mic pre's, I've got the Warm Audio. It's the WA412. And I couldn't recommend this thing enough. It's such good value for money. It's only 4 inputs. May get another one at some point. And the way I've got my inputs is I've got kick, snare, rack and floor on the warm audios. And then over on the SSL, I've got kick out, snare bottom, hats, overhead left, overhead right, and there's a couple of other channels that I haven't bothered labelling yet. There's some keyboards there. Then I've got the warm audio WA273, and that's my room mics, and they're cascading or going into the WA76 by warm audio. There's a stereo pair there, 2 mono pairs linked, and basically I use that for my room mics and smash the crap out of them with the limiters, you know, with the WA76s, and that way I can blend that back in with the room mics. In terms of drum mics, I've explained most of them. You know, you've got the Loudons, the warm audio. What I forgot to mention is I've got 2 of the warm audio, what they called the C414 style ones. Again, massive fan of these. I'm really grateful to Warm Audio because it made my studio affordable. I'm not sure I could have afforded it otherwise. So I've got a stereo pair of those in permanent position, going in to the WA273s, that's there, and then going into the compressor. And that's all set and forget it. And if I want to smash it some more, obviously I can adjust the compressors. For vocals, bass, various things that I want to DI, the Brit Strip's fantastic. It's a 1073 style preamp with I think it's an opto compressor, but it's a Neve style compressor, and it's brilliant. And I use it very subtly, but it's such a great channel strip. Set it and forget it most of the time. I make minor adjustments, usually don't have to worry. What else? Going back to the guitar setup, I've recently purchased the Imperial by Tone King, the pedal. Really recommend it actually if you want a nice little guitar preamp for the studio or for live. It's great. This was recommended to me by Fabrizio, who's a very cool guitar player. I hope you're watching, Fab. Thank you for that. And I decided to give it a go. I was going to buy another amp head, but what I decided to do was go pedal-wise. That way I could have 2 guitarists in the room, one using the amp, one using the pedal, if ever we need to do that. I can take it to the next level, buy another head, and then use the aux stomp with the 2 notes as well. That gives me more flexibility, but I'm not doing that just yet. What else? Guitar-wise, Rittenhouse, Hanson thing, and then I've got another. This is fantastic. I thoroughly recommend this. So this is the Squier 70s P bass with the maple neck, and it's been excuse my shoddy camera work. It's been absolutely brilliant. It just sounds so good. Really chuffed with it. I can't believe, you know, the value for money. Squier is just knocking it out the park. Obviously it's Fender, but it's really good value. Most of the bass players I speak to recommended I go Squier. Not that I didn't want a Fender amp, but budget was quite tight. And what I realised is you've really sort of got to spend some money to improve on those Squier basses. That 70s one sounds great. I'm hoping to put some flat wounds on that though at some point. I'm going to do the Pinot thing, although Pinot plays Rosewood. And then another used guitar that I picked up, which I'm really happy with. I've been chasing, literally, when I say chasing, I mean chasing good acoustic sound for years. It's always eluded me. I've never ever been happy with the sound I get recording until now. And 1, because the studio's working well. 2, because this J45, this is a 2010 J45, just sounds so good, man. It's such a good guitar. So well balanced, so versatile, you know, finger picking, strumming, whatever, it will do it. There's a reason why it's one of the most recorded guitars in the world. This was another bargain, I think. Again, Gibson's gone mad. I wanted a J45. They're £2,600, you know. No disrespects to Gibson or anyone else. Things have got costly lately and the world's gone mad. But 2,600 is just unbelievably expensive. I managed to pick this up in a really nice shop, actually. I've forgotten what it's called. It will come to me eventually, but it's the one opposite Wanjo's, and if I could only remember what the name of the shop was. Anyway, doesn't matter. And again, this was a J45 2010, and I put some vintage tuners in there. Quickly went to SnooMac online and ordered these and fitted them myself. They took some doing. You have to use a bushing, like an adapter bushing, to get it to, I think it's 10 mil, so that it will adapt well. And you have to be super careful. You need to route out or drill out the holes ever so slightly, and you need to be very careful not to split the grain on the thing if you push them in too hard. What you want is firm pressure, but they should just go in, okay? But I managed to do that, so yeah, I don't know, I just gave it a go. Bit brave of me, I know, because I'm not a Lutherer, although I have put some machine heads on in the past, you know. Love this guitar, really. At some point I'll play you some results of what I'm getting. In fact, I'll put some stuff online eventually. Just flip the camera. One of the issues I got at the moment is, because I'm trying to do writing and recording, is I don't really want to put the original content out until it's been released, and that could be some time. I mean, at the moment I'm pitching for a track, and it may not even get released, who knows. And then, but I will be playing some of my own stuff, which I'm planning to self-release, and that will be more blues-based as well. I know I'm waffling loads. I can't seem to kind of stop. I did this completely unstructured, you see, and this is what happens when you don't plan a video. Right, where were we? Okay, so guitars, done. Pedals, don't worry about that now, we're doing in-depth. Again, I've got one more guitar, which is a Fender Custom Shop. It's a 60s style one in Daphne Blue with a rosewood neck. Fantastic guitar. Right, where are we now? So we've done the Simps and the keys. So finally, what do we get to? We get to the speakers. So the monitors I'm using are the Adam Audio. There you go, let's do a nice little pan across. These are the A8Hs, or it could be the AH8s. I can never remember which way around it is. What's great about these is they can be calibrated, and now with these new versions of Adams, you can input SonarWorks' profile on the EQs. So I've pinged the room with SonarWorks, and they're sounding really nice in here, really chuffed. What's great about these speakers is I'm really happy with just how all round they are and how well they translate, and more importantly, just how good value they are. Shout out to Andertons. I bought these from Andertons. The guys there are really super nice, and these were B stock, or I think one was B stock, but I got these for less than 2K for the pair. I just don't think you can do much better than these at this kind of price point. You'd have to really bump up your price to improve. The Neumanns are great, but you know, they're probably another grand on top, and they're not going to sound a whole heaps better. They're on par. In fact, I don't think they do sound better personally. I've had some Neumanns, not the 3-ways, but I've definitely had the not 310s. I had the 150s. Great speakers. They're a 2-way speaker, but I prefer these. The mid driver makes all the difference, you know. And then I think bargain of the century, in fact, probably the favourite bit of gear I have in this entire studio, are these, and I'm a fanboy. I had no idea how good they were. I bought them based on the fact that I wanted something for mid-frequencies. These are the Tantrum Audio Angry Boxes. You can set them in a linear fashion. There's a switch on the back, or you can have them mid-frequency, you know, more pushed in the mids, or actually cut top and bottom. But I prefer them in their linear fashion. So those Angry Boxes, they're absolutely brilliant. They're so efficient. They sound brutal in a good way. Yeah, they just give you all those mids, and you can really get an idea of what's going on, especially in that kind of cluttered mid section of your mixes. You know, you want to kind of get things out the way of each other: guitars, pianos, vocals, you know, various bits. These are brilliant. The mix cubes, is it the Aventone and stuff like that? They're great, but they're super brutal. They're bigger. These are 14 centimeters across, and Tantrum Audio, I'm planning to buy one, have just dropped a sub for these, which is fantastic. I think it's a dual facing 8-inch driver in an closed enclosure. These are closed as well. I think they got digital DSP in these, or a digital amp. They just sound brilliant. They're a very efficient cone. I don't know where the drivers are from, but they sound really nice. Absolutely love them. In fact, if ever I get rid of the studio, I may just opt to use these on a desktop at home. If I go back to doing home recording, you know, typical kind of little desk with your laptop and your thingy. These things I think were my best purchase in the entire studio. Everything counts, you know, towards it. But in terms of monitoring, I can't knock them. And these two in combination are a great combo. They really work well together. The Adam A8Hs and the Tantrums, they complement each other lovely. What I notice is that mid-frequency driver on the Adam, it's great, but when you put these on, it's almost like you magnify that mid-frequency range, you see. It sort of goes whoop, and it just opens out. What would be great is if I could get one of those drivers in there and then have a button just to switch off the other part of the speaker. That would be a great thing to be able to do. If you listen to Tantrum or Adams, stick those in there and then give me a switch just to use them as the mid-frequency drivers, 2 in 1. Maybe Angry Box or Tantrum and Adam can get together. I was really hoping that Tantrum are going to develop some more speakers. These are good value. They're about £600 for the pair, which sounds pricey for what they are, but trust me, it's not. It really isn't. It's worth every penny. The sub, though, slightly more expensive than I was hoping. Totally worth it. There's 2 drivers in there. The sub, I think, is coming in at just over 900, around 920. At the moment, I'm using an Adam A7. You can have a look at all my terrible cabling. Adam A7 sub. It goes down to, I think it goes down to 28 hertz or 30 hertz. And the Adams go down to 32. So I'm just getting a bit of bass extension. But what's great is if I use the Angry Boxes, and then I can kick the sub in as well and use them in conjunction. I did actually ask Tantrum if they were going to develop a dual concentric tweeter that would maybe sit on top and sit in the front, but I don't think he likes the idea of that. Having said that, though, the new sub now has got DSP and you can phase align it, which is great. So now that they've got an app and the phase alignment tool, they possibly could develop a tweeter. Be cool, and then they could align it with the software. It's, you never know, they might do that. Chances are they might develop a full range speaker. What I'd love to see is a bigger version of the Tantrums. I'd like them to go into more sort of full range monitors. I don't know how expensive they'd be, but you know, a bit costly. Right, where are we at? We're at 42 minutes now. I've been waffling for ages. Cannot believe you're even watching this video. If you're still here, it's a freaking miracle. That's all I can say. I'm totally winging this, and if it is too long and you're bored, then please let me know. I'll make sure that the videos are kind of more short form or slightly more compact. What I will be doing in the future, though, is planning my videos so that I can speak about something in particular. I was just excited about the studio, so have a good look around. There you go. Now, what I'm looking to do is collaborate with songwriters and producers. So if you are a decent songwriter and producer and you want to work on some stuff, hit me up, man. Let's write some tunes. I forgot to mention my little guitar Laley, by the way. Let me show you that. It's just down there. It's a great little thing. I love it. So I've got this little guitar Laley hiding in here. And it's fantastic. It's really great for sort of ethereal stuff, some light stuff, and gives you a nice folksy sound, you know. Right, that's the studio. I think I'm done. I'm absolutely exhausted. Don't know why, but for some bizarre reason, this, here you go, let me just straighten that out. There we go, back in. Right, quick look around one more time. Loads of crap here. Oh, I didn't mention headphones. Okay, so I'm using the Odyssey LCDXs. I've got the Neumanns, 2 sets. I've got the closed back Neumanns and the open back ones. Not sure where the open back ones are. Then I've got the ones on the drum kit that I already mentioned, and I think I've got a couple more crappy pairs. Right, I think that's that. That's roughly the studio. The desk itself was here already. One thing worth mentioning is this thing, this Cow Digit. If anyone's got a studio, thoroughly recommend this thing. It's bloody expensive in the Mac store. It's about $3.99 on Amazon, something like that. But I've got the entire studio plugged in via MacBook M1 via one cable, just one USB-C. And if anyone comes to use the studio and brings their own computer, they can access the studio, all the peripherals rather, via one USB-C. I mean, that's gold dust. Everything's plugged in. It makes life a lot easier. Slowly over time, I'm going to just tidy things up. I was so desperate to make music, I plugged everything up very quickly. When I did this video, I didn't bother tidying. I literally, warts and all, at the end of the day, it's a working environment. I'm here to make music, I'm not here to make videos. So, but I'm going to try and up my game as I go along, okay? Anyway, that's that for now. If you did watch that, congratulations. The whole time though, just so you know, in case you mention it, is I've been looking at the screen and not the camera. So you might notice that I'm never quite looking in your eyes. But I'm going to try to look at the camera. I could show you quickly the entire studio, actually the complex, but I don't really want to do that just yet. I might save that for another time. But essentially it's a bit scary, look at this. Ooh. There's 4 studios downstairs, and I think in total, in the whole building, there's about 22 studios. So it's a nice little community. Still early doors for me, I haven't met everyone. I've spoken to a few people, hoping to collab. It's not exactly tile yard, but you know, it's nice to be in an environment where there are other people making music. Right, that's me done. I'll see you on the next one. How many minutes is that? Sorry, I'm just checking. 48-minute video. If I leave this as it is, I'm going to say sorry in advance, but listen, I've got to get some content out there. I've got to start somewhere. I'm hoping I'll improve as I go along. I hope the DJI is going to work well enough. I will be using the Sony cameras to do future videos. I wanted to mention one last thing, is this little section here. What I'm hoping to do is set up a little podcast area, and I don't know what it looks like, but it looks quite cool. And what I'm hoping to do is get some lighting in. I've got some cob lights, and I'm going to set up a little zone here where we can have a nice cup of tea or a drink and just sit and chat and create some podcasts with friends. Soon to come. I've been planning a few videos for the future, but more about those later. Right, I'm done. I'll see you later. Be good. Take care. Bye.